Imagine being Devin Haney right now. Imagine being Devin Haney. I mean, in some ways, this guy is in the best possible position you can imagine. He probably feels great. In other ways, he probably feels like he's at the bottom of the gutter. Right? Hear me out. So in the way that he feels great, this dude, he was already undisputed champion. Already had all the belts at 135 pounds prior to entering this fight with Lomachenko. Yet at the same time, deep in his heart, he knew he needed to do a little more. Deep in his heart, I think he really wanted to be somebody that was considered the absolute king of the division. And there's a lot of reason to believe that Kambosos, although he had all the belts legitimately, didn't quite command that respect amongst, kind of like the boxing community, the boxing insiders, really hardcore boxing fans as far as like who is the best of the best of the best and who did you beat to get there, right? So deep in his heart, I think he thought that. And deep in his heart, he always knew that he considered Lomachenko at the top. Now, how do I know that? Well, I was just paying attention to things, right? It's easy to consider that, seeing as how after that fight with Jorge Linares, Devin Haney beats Jorge Linares, and after the fight in the locker room, we've got him on film asking how he ranks compared to Lomachenko. How does he stack up compared to Lomachenko? Because Linares had fought Lomachenko already. How's my power compared to Loma? How's my speed compared to Loma? How's this? How's that? And you could see with the look in his eye, it was like the glee of like a little boy, right? He was like, he just wanted to know where he ranked. He wanted to know where he stacked up against somebody that he considered the absolute best of the division. And that's just, it's phenomenal to see, man, right? Because at the end of the day, boxing it's a competitive sport. You want to go out there and be the best. So if there's someone out there that you think right now holds that top spot, you always want to see where you stack up compared to that person, right? So it was all natural to see. So going into this fight there, I'm sure that's why we saw so many emotions. We saw so much going on. Deep down how bad this dude wanted that win. And he got it, right? He comes out with the W, but it's tainted. Right? It's tainted. I mean, immediately after the fight, there's booing. There's people who don't want to give him his credit for the win. There's people who are saying it's supposed to go to Lomachenko. I put a poll up on the site. I put a poll up. Asked people, who do you think won the fight? Got a lot of comments for a poll that I put up. It was like almost 200. I think it was around like 185. 75% of people thought Lomachenko won that fight. And I get it. I totally understand why people say it. My point is, imagine putting yourself in Devin Haney's shoes. You work so hard, so long. You want to get this win. You finally get the W. It feels great. You still got all the belts. You want to put yourself in the driver's seat. His pops, Bill Haney, is talking about backing up the Brinks truck after the fight. We're just going to sit and wait, and everyone's going to have to come to us. And all you hear is boos and doubts about how you got that belt. Doubts that you should even be the man holding on the belts. Shouldn't have even won the fight. It should have gone to this. People are coming out with stories about the fix was in. It was about Top Rank was re-signing him and they're doing this, that, and the other. It's all kinds of stuff. So what do you do? What's next for a man who's in Devin Haney's position? What a tough spot to be in, dude. What an undesirable spot to be in a lot of ways. So, I mean, think about it. He stays at 135. Let's just say he stays at 135 pounds for the next fight. First of all, you got to go through that nasty weight cut again. That's absolutely no fun. Who are you going to fight? I mean, really, your options really, truly are limited. You're going to fight some no-name bum, some tune-up fight? Not going to happen. You're going to fight some young guy who's like an up-and-coming prospect who would love the opportunity, but doesn't really do anything for your career and doesn't sell anything, doesn't make you any money? Not going to happen. What are you going to do? He's got 3 options, in my opinion. All of them undesirable. Number 1, he gives a rematch to Lomachenko. He doesn't really want to do that. I don't care what anybody says. He doesn't really want to do that. But if he did that, and he won that fight, it would redeem him in the eyes of everybody who doubted him the first time. If he came back out and he said, you doubted that I won that fight, I'm going to go out there and not only am I going to win this next one, I'm going to do it in impressive fashion. If he went out there and did that, like we saw Floyd Mayweather do in the past when people doubted his when he fought Castillo. People doubted that he won the first fight, went out there in the rematch, dominated. When he fought Maidana, people doubted that he won the first fight. How did that turn out? How did those things turn out? We all know how we all know what that does. We all know that you can look at it and say, hey, people will interpret it this way. The first fight, it was this way. The man fought a great fight. But as soon as I got my bearing under me, as soon as I went back out there in the rematch, I showed everybody what it really is. We could fight 99 more times. It's always going to end up the same way. So he's good. He's got the option of giving Lomachenko the rematch. But I don't think he really wants to do that. Now, like I said, not only will he have to make the cut to 135, but he's got to fight Loma. And he can say whatever he wants, even if really, truly in his heart, he believed he won that fight. He knows that he lost the second half of that fight. So think about it. Is he going to go in there and that's going to be round number 13? Or is it going to be round number 1 of a brand new fight? He knows it'd be more likely to be round 13 than round number 1. Very, very high probability to believe that fight would pick up directly where the first one left off. I don't think he wants that fight with Loma. Option number 2, he goes in there and he fights Tank. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Look, we saw the fight with Jojo Diaz and now we saw the fight with Lomachenko. Devin Haney is not a master at fighting southpaws. He doesn't get that jab off, and he needs that jab, in my opinion, to really be able to dominate and keep the distance, mess up his opponent's rhythm and his timing, throw off their offense, be able to set up everything else. When he doesn't have that jab, he gets caught way more. Because when he doesn't have that jab, he can't control things quite as much. You can't afford to get caught by Tank the way he was getting caught by Loma. I don't think that's the fight he's looking for. Last option would be the man who jumped in the ring right afterwards, who he's talked about plenty of times, including the build-up to the fight, Shakur Stevenson. Me and Shakur are on this collision path, this and that's going to happen. Shakur Stevenson jumps in the ring, tells him he's number 1, says not for now, calling him out. Shakur Stevenson says he thought Lomachenko won. Whole lot going on there, but make no mistake about it. He gets in that fight with Shakur Stevenson. It's going to be a whole different ballgame than anybody else. On the one hand, he's not going to have the height and reach advantage that he's known for. And number 2, he's going to be fighting a guy, again, southpaw. But Shakur's going to be able to get his jab off. Shakur's a guy who's very, very crafty and tricky defensively, knows how to use slick little movements and feints to kind of throw his opponent off and control the range himself. I don't think that's a fight that Devin Haney wants at all either. Especially, again, cutting down to 135, which means there's a better than not chance that he's going to end up getting fatigued late in that fight because of the weight cut. Look. So what's he going to do? 135? All of those options seem undesirable, which only leaves one option. You vacated 135, you move up to 140 pounds. What are you going to do with 140, though? Who's waiting for you up there? Maybe a fight with Ryan Garcia. That's a fight that wouldn't nearly have the amount of danger that you see with some of these other fights. But huge payday, because we know what Ryan Garcia brings to the table. Devin Haney himself, having vacated 135 and being the former champion and everything else, that's a highly desirable fight for Ryan Garcia. Maybe that could happen. Who knows, though? Ryan Garcia may be concerned with taking a tune-up fight after coming out and switching trainers and wanting to do something and doesn't want to jump right back in there with that kind of a fight. So maybe it doesn't end up being an option unless Devin waits or something along those lines. But from Haney's perspective, that one would make sense. I mean, what else is he going to do? He's going to jump in there. He could jump in there with the winner or the loser, probably, of Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor. But that could be dangerous as well. Was he going to jump in there with Prograis? Highly doubt it. Like, I think he's in a position where no matter what he does, he's going to have to deal with some criticism, and he's going to have to, about not only the decision, but the fact that he was dunking Lomachenko, right? Because he could be like, dude, I told you I've been cutting this weight since I was 16 years old. I'm tired of being at this weight class. I don't want to be here anymore. It just worked out to be a horrible timing. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, because everybody thinks you lost that fight for the most part, and now is when you decide to pull the trigger and make the jump to another weight class. Yeah, you've been talking about it forever. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, everybody who really thinks about it understands why you want to leave 135 pounds. But there's a lot of people who are going to go, no, he could have made that one more time. He was really running from Loma. And whether they're right, whether they're wrong, I don't think they're right. But whether they're right, whether they're wrong, none of that really matters. The fact is that that's going to be the conversation, and it's going to chase him. It's going to dog him. So either way, man, no matter how this turns out, I think he's in a position where he doesn't appear to be getting the respect he deserves for fighting the fight that he fought. And whatever his decision ends up being the next time, people are going to criticize him, man. People are going to talk about it. So he's just in that rough spot. But who knows? Right? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes and what kind of talks are being had? But what do you guys think? If you were advising Haney, or if you were Haney himself, what would you do next? Would you stay at 135? Would you go to 140? Depending on which weight class you went to, who would you look to be getting your next fight? Let me know what you guys think.